SmackDown took place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia at King Abdullah Financial District. This is where a temporary outdoor stadium was constructed to host the Royal Rumble and also SmackDown, which took place in that same venue. And the stadium actually they built a giant stage for the show, and it's cool because we never get really big setups for shows that are not WrestleMania anymore. And for the Rumble to have this kind of stage, it's probably the biggest stage a Rumble show has ever had. And it looks really nice. Whatever you feel about the Rumble or next year's WrestleMania taking place in Riyadh, I can't say that they didn't build a good stage for the show. And I'm sure there'll be a bigger one, a much bigger one next year for WrestleMania. And I'm sure they'll have a much bigger stadium, because I've heard this is around a 30,000 seat stadium. WrestleMania has to have more people, you would think. Now, Cody Rhodes kicked off the show. Fans loved him. They sang his song. They're very loud. He cuts a promo on Drew McIntyre. And then when Cody said he wants to win the Rumble, which would give him his third Rumble victory in 4 years, the fans actually booed him. He mentioned CM Punk. Then he's interrupted by Randy Orton, who got a big pop in Saudi Arabia. He says he'll throw Cody over the top rope without hesitation. Then Jey Uso interrupts him. No Jimmy. I don't know what's going on, man. He's traveled to Saudi Arabia for, because I remember when they did that big angle when the Usos turned on Roman and Solo in that match. Jimmy was there, and he had all those problems before. So, best wishes, man. I hope everything's okay with Naomi. I really do. But then he's after Jay comes out, Sammy comes out to a huge pop. He speaks in Arabic to the crowd. Of course, that gets a big pop. Then the Vision came out. Paul Heyman actually cut a promo. Randy challenged him. Then Nick Aldis comes out and made an 8-man tag team match. Playa. Up next with the U.S. Open Challenge, Carmelo Hayes defended against Ray Phoenix, who took the challenge. Carmelo got the win. Not a classic U.S. title match. You've been getting so many better matches on SmackDown lately. This was a decent one, but Carmelo just won after the Nothing But Net. The Miz, just go away, really. Anyway, he was talking to Ilya Dragunov backstage. He's saying Carmelo came to him to turn on Ilya, and it leads to a match tonight. I really don't care. They played the Brock Lesnar segments on the Pat McAfee show. I'm sure they're not going to play the Roman Reigns segments on the Pat McAfee show. Or even if it was on the McAfee show, I don't even know. Because he practically buried the fucking WWE creative. I don't blame him. But I'm sure Roman was frustrated that I think he was referring to the fact that they really haven't put Bronson Reed over to the way he probably wanted to, because he actually allowed Bronson Reed to go over him. So I'm sure there was some real frustration there. But they played the Brock Lesnar segment on the Pat McAfee show. He didn't get his own video package. He basically just called into the McAfee show and announced that he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. Okay. I don't know what else Pat was talking about at the time, but that was fine. So we had R-Truth and Damian Priest. They did a segment backstage with Nick Aldis. Priest walked in. R-Truth is doing the ball gimmick. Whoever draws the ball in the chamber. Priest drew his number, and he obviously gets a really bad number. It wouldn't surprise me if he's number 2, because I know he's not number 1. We already know who number 1 is. We'll get to that later. So outside, there was no backstage here, because I don't think there's a backstage for the stadium. It's a temporary outdoor stadium, so there was no backstage. Everything's under tents. But Kathy Kelly was interviewing Drew McIntyre. He cut a promo on Sammy. He's facing him for the belt tomorrow. After the break, Kathy, we go back to her, and she's interviewing Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. They say they'll still be friends after the Rumble. They mention the matches they had together. Julia and Kiana James go up to them and say it's going to be their undoing. They teased a match with Julia and Io. I'm all for that. That would help Julia so much. She needs to be on Raw, because the talent on Raw is so much better on SmackDown in terms of in-ring quality. I think Julia would do so much better on Raw. But then Nia and Lash walk in. It's a shouting match. I was expecting this to lead to a triple threat tag team match. That's not what we got. Anyway, Charlotte Flair was out next with Alexa Bliss, who got a very nice pop. Saudi Arabia really liked Alexa. They teased tension between them. Both of them want to win the Rumble. They're going to split them up. I don't know when. It might not be for WrestleMania, because I don't know if WWE is going to book a singles match for that at WrestleMania. But clearly the turn is coming. And they've been together. If they go past Mania, it's going to be a year since I think around the summer, So they go past Mania into May, I think, or so. I think that's when they started to form the team, maybe early June. But yeah. Um, After that, so that when they teased tension, Alexa actually brought up having the first ever women's match in the Middle East. That's true. She wrestled Sasha Banks in 2017. I forget the country. Was it the United Arab Emirates? That's how you pronounce it. I apologize. The UAE, or it might have been another country. I think it was the UAE, Abu Dhabi. I think that's where they had the match. And she didn't mention, of course, it was against Sasha Banks. Not going to mention her, but they teased tension, as I said, and Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez, the Judgment Day, the woman of the Judgment Day, interrupt them, and then the faces challenge them to the match. Then the three heels retreat. They walk back. Nick Aldis comes back out and makes a second tag team match. Playa. It's when we come back from break, it's Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss against Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. Playa. So it's been a while since Alexa's worked against Liv in a match. People always want to see the two of them work because Liv was very much compared to Alexa when she came into the main roster. They have a similar look, but they got the heat on Alexa for a while. Then she makes the hot tag to Charlotte, who went wild on the heels. Alexa is later tagged in, and actually I forgot to mention this. This was the worst part. So Charlotte has Liv and Roxanne down in the ring, and she's gonna do like a double moonsault. Something happens where like something happens to Roxanne. I think Roxanne gets kneed in the freaking nose or something, and she gets cut, and she's bleeding. And I actually missed some of it, but you can see like the blood was smeared on her face, and there was a towel. I think Liv got a towel for Roxanne after the match, so like to give her something to like let the blood to stop the bleeding. But I hope Roxanne's not hurt. It would be such a shame if she like has a broken rose. She has to miss the Rumble. She might even miss Mania. This sucks. Hopefully Roxanne's okay. But Alexa was later tagged in, and this is after the Roxanne injury. Stephanie Vaquer stops Raquel Rodriguez from interfering in the match. She threw off the apron to stop their match on Raw. Then Alexa pins Roxanne after a Sister Abigail DDT. She gets the win for her team. Alexa and Charlotte get the win. Fans really liked Alexa in Saudi Arabia. Backstage, Jordynne Grace was interviewed by Kathy Kelly before the Rumble. Then Jay jumped her. They brawled before being separated by security. So eventually they're going to have a match. We just don't know exactly when. So Fraxium comes out next, and when they came out, and this is like the worst part of the show. I don't know what to say. I had to use it. I just had to. So Fraxium comes out. The screen flashes. This is like the Rumble screen when there's like it's kind of like a score tracker. If you ever watch like ESPN where they have like the score tracker under the screen. So there's a score tracker for the Rumble, and it shows each participant. They show number one. They flash number one on the screen. This was a huge malfunction by WWE production. Who's ever in the truck, man, this wouldn't have happened under Kevin Dunn. I'm sorry to say. I don't like his production. This stuff never happened. There's been a lot of glitches in WWE. There's been a lot of production mishaps. There's something like, even when you watch WWE, sometimes the announcers are off and it goes to mute and it sounds really awkward. This has been a big issue for them, at least since last year they went to Netflix. I don't know who did this, but when Fraxium comes out, the bottom of the screen flashes Braun Breaker number one, and that makes sense why Pierce was laughing at Braun, mocking him. Not mocking him, but like he was kind of smiling. He was being overly jovial. Like, he knew he screwed Braun by putting him in the Rumble, making him number one. But they just gave that away. And this is a spoiler. I'm sure on the US version of SmackDown, on the that airs on USA, I am sure that they're gonna cut that out. But this was noticeable on the international version that I watched on Netflix. And yeah, that's pretty bad. I think our number one entrance can be Brock Lesnar, Braun Breaker, I mean. And that was not good that this happened. They might change it now. Wouldn't surprise me if like he comes out like 4 or 5. If you have like a Royal Rumble pool, I'm sure you're excited because you think he might win if he's number one. But I'm pissed off. I picked him to win the Rumble. Now I think Roman Reigns is going to win. I messed up on my predictions because I thought he'd win, but I didn't think he was going to be number one. Now he's probably not going to win if he's number one. The heels are going to win at number one? I don't think so. So I hope that moment was captured on Unreal. I really do. After the break, Johnny Gargano was walking through Gorilla when Nick Aldis banned Candice LeRae, his wife, from ringside. I wonder if they're going to go the way of their friend Ciampa, because the way Johnny lost tonight, it looks like the storyline is over. It looks like he's done with him and Candice are done there, and it looks like, he has nothing left to do. Because if you don't know, his friend and former tag team partner now, Tommaso Ciampa, debuted in AEW this past Wednesday on Dynamite, and wow, I think those guys are really close. Obviously, him and they're practically like brothers. They're like real, they were a tag team for years. They had their feud, the great feud together. Johnny's left before. He's left WWE before, so wouldn't surprise me if he's not long for this company. But Axiom against Johnny Gargano. Fans really like Johnny. Axiom had a Spanish fly. Then Johnny rips off Axiom's mask, but then he puts the old mask on that Johnny still was carrying. And then he hit his finisher to beat Johnny. It seemed like the feud is over. Axiom beats the heel. He beats Johnny Gargano. He takes his mask. Johnny's wife, Candice, got banned from ringside. I wouldn't surprise you if that thing wasn't even actually shot in Saudi Arabia, because I don't think she's even scheduled for the Rumble. It looks like this is it for Johnny Wrestling. Yeah, I'm not sure. It wouldn't surprise me if this is it for him. So backstage, Carmelo Hayes tells Ilya Dragunov he had nothing to do with the Miz costing him last week. Then Ilya says he's coming after Carmelo Hayes. It seems like a heel turn for Ilya is on the horizon. CM Punk, it was announced that he will be on the cover of WWE 2K26. After a break, Kathy Kelly interviewed Trick Williams outside. He says he'll win the Rumble. God, I hope not. AJ Styles came out next. Fans chanted for him before his last match, which is tomorrow, and I do believe it's his last match. He teases one more time matches against various wrestlers. The first name he mentioned was Cody. Then eventually they got to Punk, and the fans chanted for CM Punk, and he mentioned that. Then Gunter comes out from the crowd. He says he'll make AJ tap out. AJ says Gunter tapped out like a little bitch. He went after AJ Gunter, but then he retreated. So they're setting up that match. Good. I thought this was actually a good segment. We go outside. Tama Tonga says some stuff to Shinsuke Nakamura, who challenged him to a match, and it will happen next week. Miz was out next. After the break, Ilya Dragunov comes out. Miz against Ilya Dragunov. Ilya gets the win. Don't care for Miz matches. I don't really care. I had to mention this. I just had to. It's the best news all day. I am so jovial. And if you watch my NXT reviews, you knew I was fucking thrilled when I read this. Ava announced she's leaving WWE. Let's fucking go. LFG. I'm not talking about the show. I mean, let's fucking go. Thank goodness. She is awful. She's the worst GM ever. NXT got instantly better. I'm so happy. I'll probably say more about this on Tuesday. I'm so happy she's gone. Anyway, we had an MFT promo after winning the tag team title belts last week. Then it transitioned into a Wyatt 6 promo. They cut their generic promo. I mean, the big part of the solo part was he gave up the tag team titles. He says he's going to win the Rumble tomorrow. It's not happening. They previewed a Royal Rumble card. The Vision wrote next. Then we got an Oba Femi video package after the break. He debuts on the main roster tomorrow. After the break, all of the baby faces came out. I think first Jey Uso, Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, and then Cody Rhodes in that order. So there was a thing where they were actually brawling before Cody even came out, and the fans were singing Cody's theme song even after it wasn't playing anymore. And we get our 8-man tag team match main event playa: Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Randy Orton, Sami Zayn against The Vision, Austin Theory, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Logan Paul, with Paul Heyman in their corner. So this was like a host show main event to me. It meant nothing. Usually, like these shows, like the SmackDowns before big shows, they just feel like throwaway shows. Like that's really what the last 2 weeks have felt like. This show and last week's show, which took place before that Saturday night's main event in Montreal. The first 3 weeks were really good, but like when SmackDown, like because it's on Friday and like the PLE is on Saturday, or like a big event is on Saturday, it just feels like a throwaway show all the time now. But this was like a host show main event until Drew pulled Sammy out of the ring, causing a disqualification. Then Jacob Fatu came out. He attacked Drew. Cody attacks Jacob. And then Drew attacks Cody again. But Sammy took out Drew with a haluva kick. Sammy went to grab the belt, but Cody stops him. They have like almost a tug of war with the belt, and then Braun Breaker speared them both to end the show, a double spear, and that is how SmackDown ended. The final SmackDown before the Royal Rumble, which is tomorrow. So we all know the road to WrestleMania begins officially tomorrow. I don't think we're going to get a sign. I think it's hard for them to hang up a sign, so no sign in the open air stadium. But one thing that's interesting is the biggest news coming out of SmackDown is that we officially know the number one entrant into the men's Royal Rumble match.